It says, 1 Peter 5 verse 8 says, be alert and sober-minded. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. The enemy's out there, he's prowling around. I've probably emphasized this morning the devil quite a bit, not to lift him up, but if we're going to be leaders and people who help other people, we've got to be so aware that we've got this real enemy. Because one of the worst things is that people say, no, he's not really there, don't worry about it, you know. So in 2 Corinthians 10 verse 5 says, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. We're disciplined in our minds and our thoughts and what we entertain. There's many times when our minds can get carried away and not in godly ways and can really hurt us and hurt the church. Everything that we do in terms of what we're discussing here is very opposite to the world. It's the values are so different. We live kingdom values, and the values that we hold dear and hold highly are not what this world would hold to. And so we realize that we are two kingdoms fighting against each other and waging warfare on a continuous basis. And often it's the mind. And one of the most powerful things we're dealing with is the spirit of deception. It says the minds of unbelievers are in a state of deception. If they could see God, they'd all get born again. But even then, you get people who are born again, and one of the most powerful spirits we're up against at the moment is the one of deception, where people think that they're serving God and they're taking the church off in the wrong direction, and with the understanding. So we've got to be so aware the battleground is in our mind often, and the thoughts that come our way. So guard your mind, guard your thoughts. Make sure they line up with Scripture, and you're not always going to have a good understanding of what is truth. Unless you need to go to other people. We are dependent on one another. God has made us like that, to be dependent on one another to do the journey in this life. We all got a position to play and a part to play. But we got to be, the Bible says, be of the one mind. How do you be of one mind? Well, you go to truth and you say, Lord, is this bearing fruit? Because a lot of guys go down deceptive teachings and understandings, and it's demonic, really, because they have a form of Christianity, but they have such bad fruit to them. One of the worst teachings we're seeing at the moment is the one that teaches that once you are born again, you never have to confess your sin again, because there's no scripture, they say, that says you must confess your sin from the place of being born again. They say you just say, sorry, God, and move on. 1 John 1:9, they say it's not written to Christians, and a lot of other scriptures say it's not written to Christians. And so, once you go down that road, it's so difficult now to do ministry with people and to counsel them and to help them to find freedom, because you say, well, there's a sin in your life. No, there's not, I don't have to worry about it. And God just loves me. He loves me no matter what I do. I don't have to earn his approval. But I don't have to bother about pleasing God. But the Bible also says, find out what pleases God. But they say, no, God's permanently pleased with me, and all my sin today and future is forgiven, which there's truth in that. But there's still a working out of our salvation and of sin in our life and a sanctification process. So if people's doctrines and understanding haven't guarded their minds well, they're very easy prey to the enemy for false teaching and for demonic activity in their lives. And so we often get them coming our way in terms of the church, where they've believed a false teaching. And some people are very persuasive, and they stand up and they can be very easily sway people, because they've got such a great gift of persuasion and leadership. And so you can use the gift that God's given you for the devil or for the kingdom. And often the focus is on themselves and their ministry. But we're looking for a pure church, one that's beautiful, one that's effective in God's hand, and one that God can really use wonderfully in this day and age. We are going to get so many people coming and joining us, and going to need help. They're going to come through your doors. They're going to come our way, and we're going to be equipped in our understanding of how God works and who this God is, so we can help them come into freedom. Philippians 4 verse 8 says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. I'll give you some symptoms of people who may need deliverance. Okay, it's not a exhaustive list, not a complete list, and it doesn't always mean that the person's got a demon operating in them, in their life, but these could be. Number one, they're uncomfortable in God's presence, manifest in worship or prayer times. And they sometimes leave. You see people get up and walk out. They can't handle God's presence. That's probably one of the most common. And the people can't look you in the eyes. They sit with you, they won't make eye contact. And it's just uncomfortableness when they're around you. And they start, even their bodies, we had guys' bodies start contorting and doing all sorts of things. Uncomfortable in God's presence. They get headaches and stomach pains. Often here is a very common place where people experience the demonic in this area of their body. They get a lot of pain here. We can see darkness in or around or over them. We can see it in the spirit and around them. They have nightmares, insomnia, which means they can't sleep. And I prayed for a child the other day, a 7-year-old child, and she said to me that she has nightmares and she can't sleep. She has nightmares about her mother dying. So I said, that's not Jesus. Come, let's pray for you. So I prayed for her. The next morning she said, no more. Those nightmares have stopped. God set me free. We're in the business of seeing people getting set free. We feel an evil presence around them. And that's something you become sensitive to in the spirit. They experience anxiety attacks, not always demonic, but it can be. There's an anxiousness that comes on them. That's not, because the Bible says that we should not be anxious for anything. He's a God of peace and joy. So anything that's contrary to the values of God and the character of God, there should be a red light that goes on. There could be something here. Don't get the list and say, well, according to the checklist, you've got a problem, you know. We really need to be those discerning in the spirit and take it slow and work your way, get perspective from those around you. They have a lack of peace. I mean, a lot of people have a lack of peace, but they seriously have a lack of peace. They're terrified, scared of the world. They're in deception, spiritual blindness. They can't grasp truth. They have suicidal thoughts. And I think that's really a bad one. We had a lady once, her grandfather and her father committed suicide. And so we mentioned to her that she's probably got a certain spirit. We mentioned the name, and she turned and her face changed, and she got aggressive with me, and we cast that demon out, and she was set free, a generational thing that had come into her life. They have irrational anger or fear, desire to assault the person praying, which means they want to hit you. We had one poor guy, he often comes with us on prayer times, and he always gets bitten and hit by people who we're praying for. Because often the demon will manifest very aggressively and physically and attack. And so you need to bind that thing and stop it in its tracks, stop it right there. But they can get very aggressive. They can't get breakthrough. They're stuck and just in terms of their life. If we're counseling someone and doing life with people and helping them, and they're not getting breakthrough, then sometimes it's okay, let's have a prayer time. Let's get some people together. We do a lot of that. Get people in teams together and come. There's 4 or 5 people. Let's pray for you. If it's a man and it's a sexual thing, we get men. If it's a woman with sexual things, we get women. Because sometimes, you don't want people to be uncomfortable in speaking about things, but generally it's better like that. They battle to pray and read the Bible. That can be a very obvious sign that suffer from addictions, which is obvious. They have delusions, false thoughts about their self or others. They really think interesting thoughts about themselves. They called to be the next world leader or something like that. They have hallucinations and see things that are not there. Spiders crawling up the wall, snakes, faces at the window. That's quite a common thing we see. They hear voices that we're not hearing, speaking. They are confused. These are obviously very generalized terms. They have obsessive compulsive behavior, thoughts and behavior. Just can't help themselves and doing certain things, and really believe that we serve a God who can help us. We always, like I said, I've mentioned a couple times, we work in team, and we always have a team leader, and we'll work with that person. Normally we'd consider someone senior amongst us, someone mature, and that can help us to coordinate the group. If we've got prophetic words, we'll submit it through that one person. just so we don't get all people, like I said before, shouting across and all prophetic words here, prophetic going all over the place and confusing the person. So we'll generally bring it all through the one person, and we let them direct us in terms of that. Normally if it's like a stranger, you're praying for, you don't really know the person, we will sometimes encourage them to bring a family member or a good friend to be there with them, just to support them, so they feel a bit, I think you sit in a room full of strangers who are now going to start casting demons out of you. It can be very intimidating. Confidentiality, which means, hey, what happens here stays here within limits. So we do believe, like if a team of deacons prays for a person and something very serious comes out, like this person has been a child molester or something very serious, the elders are the ones who've got to give an account to God one day for the church. And so we'll tell the person up front, we've got confidentiality, but we may have to tell the elders about this and let them know to give us direction, and they've got a spiritual authority over us. So we make the guys aware of that. Yeah, so we try and let them know the expectations, that how we're working, the authority we're under, what could happen during this time, so that they're not caught off guard and confused by what's taking place. We walk them through while we are praying all the time. We keep updated to what we're doing and let them know what's taking place. Water baptism, has it got spiritual relevance to deliverance and to people getting breakthrough? We had a situation. We've seen people get. Again, this is not everything going to happen every time, but sometimes demons have left when people have got water baptized. We found people get breakthrough and been filled with the Spirit when they get water baptized. They're speaking in tongues, and when they've held back water baptism. Interestingly enough, there's a big religious movement in our country, big religious church, and they don't mind you getting born again, but you may not get baptized as an adult, because they baptize you into the church as an infant and to the values of the church, whereas we believe that water baptism comes from an understanding of your salvation. It should be an act of obedience very quickly after salvation. The fact that someone would not want to get water baptized is quite clear, but we have seen spiritual significance when people have been water baptized, breakthrough in their life take place. But again, it's not a blanket statement, but we have seen many situations where that has happened. So casting out demons, maybe we can just touch on that. Jesus cast demons out, sent them away, sent them to places, arid places sometimes. And so we try not to look for a formula. What did Jesus do exactly? Okay. One time he spat in the mud. He made mud. He spat in the ground, made some mud and put it in someone's eye. Do we do that every time we pray for healing? So we look for formulas. What did Jesus do? We try and copy. We see they marched around Jericho 7 times and Jericho fell down. We must go and march around this enemy over here, and so we try and pick up similar things that we see patterns in the Bible. We copy them. They've got power in themselves, and they may not have. If God tells you to do it, and it is significant, then do it. But don't just do it because you see something done there and you do it as a copy. You must do it because the Spirit of God said. Jesus used different ways to heal. He cast out demons sometimes in different ways, so it is in the name of Jesus, but it's not a formula. It's not like it's authority of the name of Jesus. And we do try and cast them into a desolate place. We've had some lady once say, she felt that demons were jumping across this husband and wife as they were holding hands. I don't believe demons can jump across people. I think they're within someone. The Bible says don't lay hands on someone hastily. And it's talking about ordination of elders. And some people in church, if they say, someone says, okay, hold hands now, we're going to pray. They won't hold their guy's hand because they feel a demon might jump in them, from that guy. And so we can't give the enemy too much power. That's some of the problem in the church. They give the enemy too much power. They think all they see is the devil and his power, and they forget that God is more powerful. And the devil actually, the power balance is totally in the other direction. So there's different, sometimes this type can only come up by prayer and fasting. Sometimes if the Spirit leads you that, sometimes you must starve the demons out. If you just stop looking at pornography, you might find the problem of lust will go away. and you will get healed, But so sometimes you starve a demon out just by stopping doing, Jesus says, go and sin no more, otherwise something worse may happen to you. So sometimes we need to do that. So the question is, what does your faith levels have to do with casting out demons? I think basically we are people of faith. We live by faith. So I think we can't manufacture faith. We can't make it happen. So I think faith comes from understanding, and that's obviously salvation faith. But I think walking in faith, we still need understanding and authority. Perhaps he's addressing the disciples at that point. I think he was still on the earth with them. So that's probably their faith wasn't fully understood at that stage, or fully developed or grown. So I think our faith levels, yes. But I think we should be walking in faith on a continuous basis. We're people of faith. It should be a lifestyle. See, a lot of us, we should be prepared in season and out of season. We should be a people positioned at all times to give an answer for what God has put in us. And we should be ready for battle at any time, trained and ready. So our faith levels should be at such a place where, Lord, I just believe you. I'll walk with you. It comes through prayer, spending time with him, understanding his word. So I think a combination of all that develops faith in us. And so knowledge of understanding will be, I find, very effective in your faith. Yeah. So when I pray, often I do feel weak. I feel intimidated. But God comes, because you've got faith as small as a mustard seed. That's all I need. I don't have to go there with a full tree. I just come with a mustard seed and say, Lord, help. You know the problem. You know the situation. I know that I need you. So I think as long as you've got faith, I think God will work through that.
I think you increase your faith by the word, actually. So to read Acts especially, and see how Jesus, why do we have authority? How did Jesus do it? And that builds your faith and your understanding. Sometimes when we've been actually doing deliverance on somebody, we've actually read aloud the scriptures that say all authority is given to him. You read the scriptures, it builds your faith, and I think it also, the demons realize, okay, they know what they're doing. I've got to be here. Does that make sense? Thank you.
Yeah, so Jenny's answer, she's also contributing as sometimes reading the word. We've often done that. We always take our Bibles and have the word with us. And so sometimes it's reading scripture does stir faith in us praying and the person who's been prayed for. And the devil hears the authority, hears the word of God. That's often a stirring up of faith. Yeah.